Well, I think it's 7:03, so why don't we go ahead and get started? What's our number right now, Mark?
We're still at 24.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started, and they can join us in progress if they need to.
Yep.
But good evening, everyone. My name is Dean Birch. I'm with Allied Travel, and this is the third in the series of 8 webinars. We're getting together every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Iowa time for 8 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Mark Stromberg was with us and he presented Viking Great Lakes product. Last week, Royal Caribbean, we had a presentation on family cruising. And then tonight, Mark Stromberg is back with us and he's going to talk about Viking expedition on the Great Lakes. If you don't know Mark, I know some of you, I did view the list of participants before the webinar. Some of you some of you were at the Des Moines Playhouse last year, and Mark was our presenter there. So you met Mark that evening. So some of you already know Mark. Mark is, as I may have said, our business development manager. I believe, Mark, you're in California. Am I right about that?
You are true. I am sitting here right now.
So Mark's in California and he's around 5 o'clock, so we're a couple hours ahead of him. I will mention that all of our webinars are listed on our website. So at any time that you'd like to, you can go to alliedtravel.com. You can go to the events tab. And on that tab, it does list all of our upcoming webinars. You can choose to participate in all of them or one of them based on your preferences, but that's where that information is located. And I mentioned that, but that's a good place to really view everything we've got going on with our groups and our webinars and our travel talks. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark. I'll come back at the end, and I have a few words that I would want to say after Mark's presentation. But I'll turn it over to Mark Stromberg, and he'll be speaking about Viking expedition on the Great Lakes. Mark?
Very good, Dean. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Love working with Allied Travel. For those of you who might have been with us at the Des Moines Playhouse last fall, that was, Dean and I have had a lot of talks about that, and I think that was probably the most fun I've ever had doing a in-person cruise presentation, and it was a fun night. It's a great organization to work with. I still hear from folks over there that'll call me and check in with me from time to time. We've got a great relationship with them and with Allied Travel, so we appreciate that so much. So we're going to be pretty informal tonight. There's a pane that shows up on my window that is for questions. So if anybody has questions, you can either unmute your microphone and ask them, or you can write them in there, or you can hold on to the end and we'll have a question and answer period then. I just want everything to be very relaxed and comfortable. So hopefully everyone's got their drink of choice, and let's go ahead and dive in. So tonight we're going to talk about Viking expedition on the Great Lakes. We launched our expedition cruise line in January. And of course, it's going to go to the Arctic and the Antarctic and all that stuff. But tonight, we just want to focus on something a little bit closer to home. We're going to be cruising on the Great Lakes. We've got 4 really great itineraries that's going to be exploring this really uniquely American region. It's selling well. We're hoping it continues to do so. But let's just start. Let's dive into this here. So Viking Cruises is kind of unique among cruise lines in the sense that our owner likes to say, we are the thinking person's cruise, not the drinking person's cruise. So we're definitely not a booze cruise, but it really is created for curious and experienced travelers who like exploration. Our expedition experiences, you're going to have a shore excursion in every port. We are going to be modernizing expedition as we go through this presentation. For anyone who's already taken an expedition cruise, you're going to see some definite differences with Viking Cruises and how we are approaching this. We are going to sail in beautiful Scandinavian style. Our ships are absolutely beautiful. The decor will never overwhelm what's going on outside, because it's really all about what's going on outside. We are very focused on the destination that goes from dining to our experiences off the ship to our walking tours or anything else that we do. And we've been recognized repeatedly for our award-winning service. So Viking Cruises, we promise not to be everything to everybody. This is what our philosophy is. This is what's guided our company for 23 years. We focus on English-speaking mature couples with curious minds and an interest in history, culture, and geography. I'm also going to add in here culinary experiences as well. The food on board Viking Cruises is really, really awesome, really well done. As I said, we're a destination-oriented cruise line, so everything that we do.
Magnifying glass.
We need a what? A magnifying glass. We're a very destination-oriented cruise line. It's all about where we can take you and what we can see. Our ships are beautiful, but we really want you to be able to experience these destinations.
What?
Highly inclusive, no nickel and diming, because you don't want to be reaching for your wallets all the time, and we don't want that either. Anytime we can pass on savings to a guest, we can. So we're a very efficient
Open the door, they're
operator.
fishing. J2.
Does somebody have a question?
Unlock it just so they need to get in that way.
I think, Mark, maybe you should, if you can, you should mute them and then unmute them at the end.
Got it.
Right there.
Just going through all these things. Okay, there we go. Dean, I think you're the only one who's got his microphone active right now. So anyways, moving on.
I can deal with it. Thank you.
I have no doubt. Okay, so what do we include in our cruise? This is going to be across the board for all of our Viking experiences. You're going to get one complimentary shore excursion in every port that we have. We also have a generous amount of optional tours as well. All your onboard meals are going to be included as well. Your choice of multiple dining venues, that's going to be true on this ship as well. We've got I think 3 different restaurants for you to choose from. Wine, beer, and soft drinks are always going to be included with lunch and dinner, as well as specialty coffees and teas and pastries and cookies available 24 hours a day. Bottled water replenished daily in your cabin, free complimentary onboard Wi-Fi, and part of that no nickel and diming. We're not going to charge you port charges or government taxes, and there's no charge ever for any of our alternative restaurants. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about this beautiful ship. We're going to be building 2 brand new ships, the Viking Octanus and the Viking Polaris. These are going to be sailing the Antarctic, the Arctic, and most importantly to us, the Great Lakes. We are going to start sailing in 2022. The ship is going to be 665 feet long with a 77-foot beam, and it's going to accommodate 378 guests in comfort. These are Polar Class 6 vessels. They're going to be built over the next 2 years. Real quick, I want to take a walk through some of the renderings we are going to have for the ship. So this is going to be one of your first experiences as you enter the ship. This is our main atrium on deck 1. This is kind of the heart of the ship. This is where you're going to enter and exit the ship when we are in port. The Alua is a very special place on our ship, and it's our onboard feeder and meeting place, and I'm very sure that you've never seen a theater quite like this one. Here we're going to hold our briefings, our lectures, we're going to show films about our destination, and this theater can do some pretty amazing things. The screen that we will show the movies on can actually rotate up to the ceiling, much like a garage door opening. All of the blinds will retract, and it opens up on these beautiful views right out the stern of the ship. So as we're having a lecture here, hopefully you won't be distracted by these views that are going on behind you there. And the view outside there is what we call the Finsa Terrace. Now, our owner, Torstein Hagen, his daughter, Kareen Hagen, she's one of our executive vice presidents. She has a dog named Finsa. Now, she got this dog from the Countess of Carnarvon at Highclere Castle, known to everybody through the Downton Abbey series. So that just shows how close our relationship is with Highclere Castle. But so we named this terrace after Kareen's dog. It's got some beautiful 270-degree views to view nature all around you, and it's also got 2 lava stone heated fire pits to keep you warm. I absolutely love this room. This is our Explorer's Lounge. It's 2 decks tall. You can see back here in the back, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but there's a staircase that goes up. There's one on both sides. So you can go up to the 2nd level and enjoy your time up there. There's lots of seating here, all outward facing, so looking out the beautiful windows. And not only do we have windows on the sides, we have windows on the ceiling as well. So you're going to be able to have these beautiful unobstructed views outside. At the end of a day of exploring, maybe you're going to want to dip in one of our pools. So we have got a trio of pools, each at different temperatures, so you never have to have the discussion between couples as to what's the best temperature. We also have an indoor-outdoor pass-through swimming experience. The heated main pool is protected by a retractable roof, so that's going to be available for year-round use. No matter what the weather's like outside, the pool is still going to be available. If we come inside, one of the hallmarks of the Viking ship is our signature Aquavit Terrace. Here we can settle in, relax with your fellow travelers while enjoying the drink of your choice, or one of our ship-matured aquavits, surrounded by trees, and I use that term very loosely. You can see over there on the right-hand side of the screen, these trees that are supposed to represent Yggdrasil, which in Norse mythology was the tree of life. So this is our interpretation of that. That's a nice design accent. It really is beautiful. The alfresco aquavit terrace is directly beyond the pools and the aft of the ship, and it boasts some pretty outstanding views as well. Well, who likes to eat? Sorry, it's kind of a trick question. We all like to eat. We were talking about dinner just before we started. We've got multiple dining options on board, and this is going to include our restaurant, which offers an elegant dining experience. It's going to serve regional cuisine and our always available classics served surrounded by sweeping views. Food on a Viking ship is really excellent. It really is. I'm kind of a picky eater. My mom used to call me picky. I used to correct her and tell her I'm not picky, I'm selective. But I've never gone hungry on a Viking ship. I can always find something to eat. There's times I've kind of cherry picked through the menu to find something that I like. But dinner is usually going to be 2 main entrees, a vegetarian entree, and if none of those appeal to you, we are always happy to cook you up a steak or a chicken breast with some mashed potatoes, some green beans, just whatever you like. The service on board is very accommodating. Next, one of my favorite spots on our ocean ship, and fortunately we've been able to import this to our expedition ship. Manfredi's Italian Grill is one of our most popular specialty restaurants on board and home to the very best ribeye steak I have ever had. I was able to dine in this restaurant on my 2nd ocean voyage, and it really was an excellent, excellent steak. Next down, we have our World Cafe. This is going to have all-day service. Some of the things that the World Cafe is known for is its gelato. On board, fresh sushi and seafood choices. It has a grill, so you can have things grilled to order for you. The one on the ocean cruise also has a onboard pizza oven. So all day they're making fresh made pizzas. So you can go up to them and say, I want a pizza with this and this and this on it, and they'll be happy to make that up for you. But it's really good food, easy food to get to. So if you're ever feeling just hungry, stop on in here and grab something to nosh on. Something else we've imported from the ocean ship is Mamsen's Norwegian Deli. Now, Mamsen, you're probably saying, who's Mamsen? What's a Mamsen? Mamsen was the Hagen family patriarch. She's the mother of our owner, Torstein Hagen, and the grandmother of Kareen. So this menu offers some Norwegian specialties, including Norwegian waffles made according to Mamsen's original recipe, open-faced sandwiches, and a split-pea soup that is absolutely to die for. It is really, really good. My grandmother used to make homemade from scratch split pea soup, and This split pea soup rivals my grandmother, and trust me when I say that's saying something. We've got this beautiful Nordic spa. I think this Nordic spa is more beautiful than the one we have on board of our ocean ship. So here we can relax, take in the scenery from our spa pool, gazing out the floor to ceiling windows. We have a fitness center on board if you feel the need to work out, work off that ribeye steak that you got in Manfredi's. So we've got treadmills, ellipticals, stationary bikes, weight machines, or if you just want to relax, you can enjoy the sauna, our snow grotto with its snow on demand, or a warming cave. I'm not quite sure what the warming cave is yet. We haven't seen renderings of that, but I got a feeling it's going to be something really fun. So this is an expedition ship, right? So how are we going to explore once we get out there? We've got several different ways to do it. On board the ship, we're going to have a fleet of military Pro Zodiac rubber inflatable boats. We are going to have a fleet of two-seater kayaks that are custom designed. They are pedal operated, or you can paddle them. If you're pedaling, that leaves your hands free for photography, binoculars, holding hands with your sweetie, whatever you want to do. We also have, and I think this is really cool, we've got two six-seater submersibles on board the ship. And for anybody who's a Beatles fan, please take note of what color our submersibles are. We've also got 12-seater convertible rigid inflatable boats, and these are highly capable offshore vessels that can ferry guests from the ship out to where we're going to do. Now, how we're going to launch these is really something unique. We have what is an industry first. We call it the hangar. This is an enclosed in-ship marina, which permits the launch of our small excursion craft through the ship's slipway. Guests can embark on the rigid inflatable boat shielded from wind and waves from a flat, stable surface inside the ship, and then just glide into the water to depart on their excursions. They re-enter the ship the same way. They just roll up and they slide up back inside the ship. So no matter what's going on outside, we're always going to have that protected place inside. Here's just another view of it that just shows how it is. That second floor balcony that you see in the back of the photograph, that's actually going to be a fully functional research library, research laboratory. And we are partnering with Cambridge University to have this laboratory on board of our expedition ships. Off to the side, you see that big yellow gantry, and this is how we launch our yellow submersibles. There's a gantry that rolls out that attaches the submersible via cables, and it is gently lowered into the water from there. So it's very safe, very easy to get in and out of. So a little bit more detail on how we're going to launch these rigid inflatable boats. You can see we've got this ramp. Once they get inside the boat, the ramp extends out the back of the ship, and the boats just slide into the water very gently, very easily, no rocking. You just slide in and go. So this is really a great and innovative way for us to launch our ships, and it's very safe for the guests as well. Let's talk cabins. Everyone always wants to know where they're going to be laying their head at night, and this is going to be, we're very proud of the way our cabins are going to be laid out here. One of the signatures of Viking Cruises that we're very proud of, and nobody else does this, is that with Viking Cruises, you're always going to have an outdoor cabin or an outside cabin. We have no inside cabins on any of our ships unless you're part of the crew. If you're interested in that, talk to me afterwards. I'm sure we can find you something. Our expedition ships are going to have the same thing as well, and this is our entry-level Nordic balcony. It's a 222 foot cabin, but this feature is going to be in every single cabin that we have. All rooms on Viking expeditions are going to offer these floor-to-ceiling, distortion-free glass at the very edge of the ship, which lets you take in views while keeping the elements out. Should you wish to feel closer to nature, the top of your panoramic glass lowers to transform your stateroom into a sheltered al fresco lookout with an observation shelf right at elbow level to stabilize binoculars or photography. So if any of you are familiar with a French balcony cabin on our river cruise ship, that is basically a sliding glass door that opens up onto a railing. This is that same concept turned on its side. So this window that we see on the left-hand side is going to lower at the touch of a button, and you'll be able to lean out and enjoy the outside from the comfort of your balcony. It's really a very innovative way to incorporate this. We've got 2 cabin categories here, our Nordic balcony stateroom and our deluxe Nordic balcony stateroom. Both are the same layout, but you're going to have different amenities, better amenities in the deluxe Nordic balcony stateroom. I've done enough of these that, and I've known to include this slide because everyone always asks us, what are the bathrooms like? And we've taken a page from our ocean ship and virtually copied our ocean bathrooms for the expedition ship. These are very roomy, very spacious. Even in the entry-level cabin, you're going to have heated tile floors. You're going to have an anti-fog mirror, a full-size glass enclosed shower with very easy controls to understand. I travel a lot and I go to a lot of hotels, and I don't understand why they can't have just simple controls for the shower. Sometimes I wonder why they don't have an instruction sheet in the shower to figure out how to get the water just right, but they don't. So with Viking, you're not going to have that problem. We've got 2 dials, one for volume, one for temperature. Very easy to think about. Next up is our Nordic penthouse cabin at 269 square feet. Our Nordic Junior Suite at 322 square feet. These cabins keep getting bigger. Our Explorer Suite at 580 square feet. This cabin does have a bathtub in addition to the glass enclosed shower. So if a bathtub is part of your expedition cruising plans, this would be the suite for you. And our top of the line, this is the cabin that I'm sure Dean is going to book. The owner's suite at 1,206 square feet. Now, this picture, it is not an outdoor cabin. This is just the veranda, which is part of this cabin. It has a private sitting area, private veranda, and a private hot tub as part of this cabin. So let's talk about where we're going to take you. That's the most important thing, right? Where we're going to take you on the Viking expeditions on the Great Lakes. We've got 4 really great itineraries for you, and I want to touch through these. Our first one is a 13-day itinerary that's going to go from New York to Toronto. Now, here's some of the detail of it. My French is not very good, so some of these I'm not going to be able to pronounce, and if I did, I'm sure that I would murder them horribly, because I actually tried to learn French once, and the nuances of the language just perplexed me to no end, and I ended up just giving up on it. But this is going to be a great itinerary with a great mix of interesting stops and scenic sailing, and it does include an overnight stop in Toronto as well. Next up is our Great Lakes Explorer, Milwaukee to Thunder Bay. With the exception of that first itinerary that we looked at, all of our itineraries on the Great Lakes are going to depart or arrive in Milwaukee. That's going to be our home port on the Great Lakes. So Milwaukee is an easy drive from Des Moines. I know that because I actually have done that drive before. So a little lengthy, but very scenic nonetheless. So this one's an 8-day tour that's going to start off in Milwaukee. We're then going to call in beautiful Mackinac Island before spending 3 days cruising Georgian Bay, enjoying some of these breathtaking sceneries. We're then going to transit the historic Sioux Locks before making our way into Thunder Bay. Next up is undiscovered Great Lakes, Thunder Bay to Milwaukee, 8 days. Someone's fire alarm going off? There
That's
we go.
mine.
Okay. You're not burning, are you, Dean?
Not yet.
Okay, well, keep it that way. Our next itinerary is going to be undiscovered Great Lakes. So after an overnight stay in Thunder Bay, which was started as a French fur trading post in 1683, we stop in Duluth, which is the 2nd largest city on Lake Superior, then on to explore some of the 22 islands that make up the Apostle Islands. Next is a stop on Houghton, listed as one of the top 100 best small towns in America, before enjoying some scenic cruising through the Sioux Locks, Mackinac Island, as we end up back in Milwaukee. Finally, we've got Niagara and the Great Lakes, Toronto to Milwaukee, 8 days. Now, on this one, I want to take a little bit more time and dive into some of the detail of some of the things we're going to be doing in these stops. And this is going to give you an idea of the level of care that Viking has put into designing these destination-focused experiences that is really going to be focusing on these stops. So it's not just a stop where we tell you we're going to be here for 4 hours, be back on the ship, go find fun. We're going to show you these expeditions, these great towns that we're going to be stopping in. So on day one, Toronto, Ontario, we're going to arrive in Toronto, which is Canada's largest city, the provincial capital of Ontario. You're going to have a free day here. So whenever you arrive, you can take time to explore your ship. You can get off the ship and wander around the downtown area a little bit if you like. So on day two, we start, we're going to enjoy a scenic cruise through the locks of the Welland Canal, which is a man-made shipping channel that connects Lake Ontario to Lake Erie. From Port Colborne, we're going to leave our ship and we're going to head to the region's main attraction, Niagara Falls. Experience the power and majesty of these natural wonders as you walk along the top of the gorge, or you can don a rain poncho and get up close to Horseshoe Falls during a thrilling boat cruise to its misty base. I was in Niagara Falls, I think in 2001 or 2. I don't think it's changed much since then. But I was so impressed with this natural wonder. It's hard to describe. If you've never been there, it is truly one of the wonders of the world to see. And this cruise, the Maid of the Mist ship, I took that. And at the time I had a old style video camera and I was trying to take movies of the time when as we started getting closer and closer to the falls, and it ended up just every time I stood up or turned the camera around and opened up the lens, that it would just get soaked and you couldn't see anything out of it. And I tried over and over to get something going on that, but it's a beautiful thing to experience. Next, we're going to go to Point Pelee in Ontario, Canada. This is the southernmost point on the Canadian mainland. Point Pelee is an important stopover point for migratory birds. More than 350 different species have been spotted on this tiny sand spit that juts into the northwestern corner of Lake Erie. So we can canoe, we can kayak through the marshlands that compose much of the spit, or hike along a path trails to discover the local flora and fauna that inhabit this spirit. Here's a trivia question that will get you free drinks in a bar. And I'm going to answer this in just a couple of minutes, but I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. What is the only Canadian city that you can get to by traveling south from the United States to? What is the only Canadian city that you have to travel south to get to if traveling from the United States? Ponder that for just a second. Our next stop is going to be Detroit, Michigan. Now, my family is from Detroit, so I know it very well, has a very special part in my heart. So we're going to experience the resilient culture of Detroit, nicknamed Motor City because it's considered, and I think this is true, the automobile capital of the world. It sits on the border between US and Canada. We can celebrate 20th century American ingenuity with a visit to the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation and tour the century-spanning collection of works at the renowned Detroit Institute of Arts. Learn about the city's maritime heritage or discover Detroit's role in the Underground Railroad. I've got a cousin and an aunt who still live in Detroit, and I was there back in February. And my cousin and I went to the Henry Ford Museum, and I hadn't been there since I was a much younger man. And probably the late 80s was the last time that I've been there. And it's still just one of my favorite museums in the United States. I absolutely love it. Easy to get around in. I think I was there for 2 or 3 hours and just thoroughly enjoyed it. So the answer to our trivia question is the only Canadian city that you can get to by traveling south from the United States is Windsor, Ontario, Canada, right across the river from Detroit, Michigan. So if you look it up on a map, Windsor is on a little hook that kind of hooks right underneath Detroit. So to get to Windsor, you have to travel south from the United States. Next up, we're going to stop on day 5 in Alpena, Michigan, which is the gateway to Thunder Bay National Maritime Sanctuary and an underwater preserve. This is so cool. It protects an estimated 200 sunken vessels spanning much of the Great Lakes history of shipping. So you can paddle a kayak along the shoreline to view several of these shipwrecks that rest in the shallows. This is going to be a great stop, I think. I'm really looking forward to this one. Mackinac Island, Michigan on day 6, and it's much more than just fudge, I'll tell you that. Mackinac Island is known for its fudge. So we're going to enjoy an exciting day on idyllic Mackinac Island, located in the Straits of Mackinac, which link Lake Huron and Lake Michigan. This charming island is a well-known haven for pedestrians and bicyclists, as motor vehicles are banned here. So there's no cars, no motorcycles. Everything is done by bicycles or carriage. And the only way to access the island is by boats. We're going to take a sightseeing excursion by horse-drawn carriage to important historical sites. You can also choose to dine at the elegant Grand Hotel, which is a Victorian-era building with the world's longest front porch. Folks, if that's not a reason to book this cruise, I don't know what is, to see the world's longest porch. Next, Traverse City. And Traverse City is the cherry capital of the world. Nestled along the shores of Grand Traverse Bay, the charming vacation destination is surrounded by sand dunes, beaches, rolling hills, and clear blue waters. Indulge in the city's emerging culinary scene during an excursion around the Lelanu Peninsula to sample award-winning wines or savor local favorites while soaking up the sights and history of downtown Traverse City. Before working for this company, I had no idea that Traverse City was the center of winemaking in Michigan. Being from California, honestly, I didn't know that Michigan had a winemaking, but apparently it is, and apparently the wine is quite good. I've actually sampled some. So on day 8, we are going to arrive back in Milwaukee, where we're going to disembark your ship. We are offering pre and post excursions on these cruises, and so you can extend this stay if you want, with a few days in Chicago if you'd like. So that's a nice little snapshot, a closer look into this one itinerary. You can see we put a lot of thought and detail into these. So you can imagine what the other ones are like. Allied Travel would be very pleased to research these for you if you want, and find out to get you on the perfect cruise. So this is going to conclude my version, or my part, of the travel talk with Viking and Allied Travel. And I'm going to turn this back over to Dean, who's got some very important information for you.
Mark, just let me ask you a question. We can interact a little bit here, but
Absolutely.
I want everyone to know that the presentation that you did tonight, and also the one that you did a couple weeks ago, are kind of cutting edge, because a lot of people don't know much about either the Mississippi or the Great Lakes as it relates to Viking. They've really not been introduced. So that is correct. Is that right, Mark? You've not done a lot. This is really the launch of this product?
Absolutely. We had a major launch of the product in January, but because of the worldwide situation, we really haven't had a chance to get out and do like the cruise night presentation that I did with Allied Travel last fall. We would normally be out doing presentations like that. So now we do these online things, and I think we're all a lot more comfortable doing these. We're sitting at home and relaxing with our drink of choice. But yeah, these are new products. Mississippi was launched a month ago, so it's still very new out there, and it's selling very well. But these are 2 great additions to the Viking family of products. We're very proud of them. We're very happy with them, and we think that they're going to be very, very enjoyable experiences.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Mark. Earlier, when I kicked off the presentation, we talked a little bit about our website. I want to make sure that you know that you can go to our website and you can download your virtual passport. If you have participated in previous webinars with us, you know that we're going to give you a password this evening, and then you will fill out that virtual passport. Then at the end of the 8 webinars, you'll submit that to us, and that will go into a drawing for an Allied Travel gift certificate. So the password for tonight's virtual passport is Lighthouse. So please make a note of that. And again, as I said earlier, all of this information is on our website on the events tab. So with that, I think we will open this up to questions. And one of the big questions that we had, Mark has already answered, is is when is this going to launch? And as Mark mentioned earlier, it's 2022. So that's one of the big challenges. Is that's quite a ways away. But that was one of the big challenges of the Mississippi River product as well. So with that, if you want to type your questions, we'll give you some time to type in those questions. I'm sure Mark will review those questions, and then he'll be happy to answer those as best that he can.
Absolutely. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I think your microphones are unmuted, so you guys can go ahead and click on your microphones if you wanted to just ask a question. That's fine. It's all up to you, or you can type them into the box. I'll read the question and I will provide an answer as well.
Mark, this is Juanita. Can you go back to the last itinerary slide? You know, the one that shows the itinerary for the last one?
This one?
I'm not seeing it. I must.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
What do you want to see on it?
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to relook at some of the other ones, there's the undiscovered Great Lakes. Jim has a question, and his question is estimated cost for the 8-day cruises on Great Lakes. Jim, that's really going to depend on cabin category, date of departure, and all that stuff. So if you want to reach out to Allied Travel, they would be happy to research that for you and get you some pricing on that. I really can't give you a definitive answer on that because there's too many variables on that.
So Mark,
you,
what time of year are these cruises typically? Like particularly that first one that goes out of New York. What time of year would that be?
Honestly, I'd have to look that up. I don't have that right now, and I can't look it up while I have the screen up because then you guys are all going to see me looking it up. Again, Allied Travel can look into that for you and find out exactly when these are going to be traveling. But similar to our Mississippi product, you know, we're going to travel when the weather is best for it. So obviously, we're not going to be doing Great Lakes cruises in December, January, and February. I think we're going to be doing these in spring and summer, probably mostly summer.
And Mark, you have the email you can forward us tomorrow with the pricing information, the cabin categories, and are the dates available at this point?
Yes, they are. Yeah, everything is on our website.
All right, so basically the answer to the question is if you want to let us know tomorrow, actually, I can email the information out to all the participants. Mark has that list, so we will email that out to you tomorrow, probably in the afternoon.
Okay. Got a couple other questions. William, this is a great question. William's question is, I have a cruise booked on the Danube in late September. Do you know when Viking River Cruises will restart? As of now, William, we have ceased all cruise operations until July 1st. And we are looking at that right now as a date to restart, but it really depends on the countries that we're sailing through, whether they're open or not. I can't imagine that September we wouldn't be back to normal, but it's all going to depend on these other countries that we're in. My thought is that we may open up kind of on a tiered basis. So we may open up some itineraries as soon as we're able to, and then kind of open up other itineraries as we're able to do so on that as well. But that's a great question. I just got an answer on the 13-day from New York. That's going to sail in April and October. We have another question from Carol, and she says, what is the best time of year to do the 8-day tour? Carol, I really think that probably depends on what you want. Like when I travel, like for river cruising in Europe, I like the fall. That's just me. I think for these, spring would be an excellent time to travel, but it all depends on which itinerary and when it's sailing. So we're going to have 2 ships on this itinerary. By contrast, in Europe, for our European river cruises, we've got 72 river cruise ships. We've got 6 ocean ships, so we're starting a little bit slower on this. So our itineraries and departure dates are going to be a little bit less on this, but it really depends on what you want, when you want to travel, what fits best with your schedule, and of course, what fits best with Viking's schedule and when we're going to be offering things as well. These are great questions, folks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anybody else?
When do you do the
Well-
Antarctic cruises? And I mean, are those available?
Yes, absolutely. Tonight we just focused on the Great Lakes, but we've got 4 different itineraries in the Antarctic. We've got 1 itinerary in the Arctic. We also actually have a grand excursion that's going to go from the Arctic all the way down to the Antarctic on a 44-day cruise. That's going to go from the Arctic Circle across the equator and down to the Antarctic Circle. So we've got a lot of opportunities on those. The Antarctic cruises, our ship is rated for summer and autumn ice. So summer and autumn in those latitudes is when we're going to be sailing on those as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
So just to let you know, all of the agents at Allied Travel are working now. They are working from home. Jody and I are in the office from 8 to 5 each day. The way we're operating is as calls come in, I'm sending text messages to the agents to have those calls returned. So everyone is working. So wanted to let you know that. And tomorrow afternoon, as I indicated earlier, we will send out the email information on these Great Lakes itinerary and then the Great Lakes pricing as well. Ingrid just sent me a text message that that next week we are going to be featuring Royal Caribbean Alaska, and in 2 weeks from today, which I think would be the 28th of May, we are going to be featuring Viking Expedition, which I think is to the question that was asked earlier.
Yes, absolutely it is. And yeah, Ingrid sent me the same text. So, so join us back here in 2 weeks if you're interested in cruising the Arctic or the Antarctic. We're going to be talking about that at that time.
Very good. So if there are no more
Dean,
questions, is there one more question?
Dean? Yeah, Dean, this is Kathy. Can I go back and look at the Mississippi one? We missed that.
Actually, we have those posted on our website. So those videos are on
Okay.
our website. So if you do go to allytravel.com, you click on the events tab.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can click on that and you can view it. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Thank you. So with that, I think we'll call it an evening. Mark, thank you very much. I hope everyone has a great Thursday evening, and hopefully we'll see you all next week, next Thursday night at 7 for Royal Caribbean Alaska. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate your time, appreciate your questions, and appreciate Allied Travel.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Good night.
Good night.